welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. I had an opportunity to read some comments on my last video where I gave my observations about the end of the Fever Atlanta game, my observations overall. I haven't seen all the comments. That's hard to do. Thanks to all of you who are so supportive, but I had an opportunity to see a fair number of comments. And I am finding a balance of people who are in full panic mode after the second game of the season, and those who say it'll take time. It's okay. And I want to talk about the people who feel some type of way, as they say, about how Stephanie White utilized Caitlin Clark at the end of the game. If you saw the video I put out after the game, which was just it really was like 4:00 this morning, you know that I went through that last play. What happened? Who did what? What was supposed to happen? I commented that Caitlin Clark was taking the ball out of bounds, and I said, she's a good passer, and then I just moved on. I didn't park there on the fact that Caitlin was the one inbounding the basketball, but many of you are really feeling it about that. So let's talk about it. Before we talk about it, actually, please remember, I did a video about five tools to survive. It was a survival guide for the 2025 season. Already people have had to rewatch the video. Already I'm seeing the things that I said we would see. People are saying the things I said they would say. I said there are going to be people who are going to be like, oh, we could have kept Christie sides. And that's something that I really want to say, because when it comes to how this game came down at the end, that's something that I'm hearing people say. Oh, she's Christie sides 2.0, and Caitlin Clark should have been the one to get the basketball. And I totally get it. I'm not criticizing anybody for feeling that Caitlin Clark should have been the one receiving the basketball. I'm just here to offer perspective. This is not Christie sides, number one. But I will say this, toward the end of that game, during the live stream, you heard me say, this is when it comes down to coaching. This is where coaching is so important. Now, I personally don't have a problem with what Stephanie White did in terms of having Caitlin inbound the basketball. I also don't have a problem with those who feel that Caitlin should not have been inbounding the basketball. But hear me out. Aaliyah Boston is the person the play was designed for, and then other options off of that. But it was designed for Aaliyah Boston. See my video from last night or 4:00 this morning. It didn't work out that way. Like, she didn't draw the play up for Natasha Howard, right? She drew it up for Aaliyah Boston. Caitlin is inbounding the basketball, not so that she's out of the play. You got to understand how these players work. Aaliyah Boston had a monster game again, 24 points. She was solid. She was impressive. And so I have no problem with a play for Aaliyah Boston. And I'm going to tell you why. Aaliyah, I did a video on this a few weeks ago. If Aaliyah gets the ball down low and gets smothered, she is smart enough and a good enough passer to kick the ball back out. There was 9.7, I believe, on the game clock. Now, very often, the person who inbounds the basketball is the person who is the threat is the person who often has an opportunity to score the basketball. Because when that person inbounds the basketball, now I know it's Caitlin Clark, so you can't totally fall asleep on Caitlin Clark. But generally speaking, when that ball goes in, attention gets turned to where the ball went, which often allows the inbounder to slip in and get an opportunity to score. So I have no doubt that Stephanie White recognized that. I would have to be bonkers, in my opinion. Me personally, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me personally from what I know about the game. I've been a student of the game all my life. I coached the game on a high school level, not like the pros or anything like that, not even pretending that I could coach on the professional level. But I've been a student of this game. And Stephanie White is a good coach. And that's probably an understatement. I'm sure the play wasn't, don't look for any other options. I think it's what we're missing is that, number one, Aaliyah Boston was having a good game. Number two, Aaliyah Boston is a good passer, and she sees the floor well in the post. And what she often will do, as I did a video a few weeks ago, she will get it. She will see what she has. If she has nothing, she doesn't have a problem kicking it out, then reposting. And with 9.6, with crisp passes, there's enough time for that. There's also enough time for her to draw the defenders in and Caitlin get in a spot where she can get a pass. So what Stephanie White had was Kelsey Mitchell setting screens. Now, I know some people think that was not the thing to do. I don't have an argument with you on that. Okay. But Aaliyah Boston gets the screen, comes across, and she gets held. Even the announcer mentioned that. She was grabbed, she was held, and the poor officiating didn't do this team justice throughout this whole game and even on that play. So she gets grabbed. Now, had Caitlin Clark been not the one inbounding the basketball, just watching the game and how they played her, do you think that Caitlin Clark would have been able to get the basketball? If they grabbed Aaliyah Boston, you better believe they would have grabbed Caitlin Clark. So what the coach did was say, let's get a play for Aaliyah. Hey, if she gets a shot at the basket underneath, then fine. She's been cooking all day. If not, then we have other options. We can get the basketball to Caitlin Clark after she inbounds the basketball. So there's that. Another thing I want you to consider is this. I know in basketball, there's no reason why the best player should not have the ball in her hand at the end of the game. I get it. I totally get it. I'm not criticizing you for it. I get it. But I also want you to think this. They did not assemble this team. That's got to play out. They got to gel. They got to do better. All of them. But they did not assemble this team so that they have only one option in Caitlin Clark. Otherwise, they totally wasted their resources and wasted their time. They brought in a team of people who on any given night could be a player who could make the big plays. And this is what I said. I said many times in the offseason after free agency, I said sometimes it's harder as a coach when you've got several players who can score to be able to come up with something than when you only have one player who can score. But I also said many times, I'd rather have that problem. I'd rather have several and have to figure that out than to have one or none. So this particular game, Aaliyah Boston was cooking. So I have no problem with Aaliyah getting the first touch and then seeing what the options are. But again, if you guys think that it's going to be just Caitlin with this team, you're in for a long season. And there are people who don't like Caitlin playing off the ball last night either. Caitlin had 27 points and she was off the ball a lot. And one of the reasons is because they were all over Caitlin Clark. That's why you bring in a team of people who can do things as well and relieve some of that pressure. Caitlin has played off the ball. She did just fine when she was off the ball, but she wasn't off the ball the whole time. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I've seen some comments about that. Now, I want you to think about this as well. Just trying to bring some reason here from what I see. Who else on this team could have made the pass that Caitlin made? The fact that Caitlin even got the pass to Natasha Howard is a testament to how good a passer she is. Now, one might say, well, DeWanna Bonner could have been in. I don't know if DeWanna Bonner got hurt when she was undercut or not, but she didn't play a lot of minutes. I'm not sure, but we didn't get anything out of her, right? So, but one might say, well, DeWanna Bonner, she's taller. She should have inbounded the basketball. I'm going to ask the same question I just asked. Who on this team could have made that pass to Natasha Howard? That pass that Caitlin Clark made gave the Indiana Fever 2 opportunities to win this game. I'm going to submit to you, nobody else could have made that pass. Now, again, the play was to go to Aaliyah Boston. Other people inbounding the basketball might have tried to force it into Aaliyah Boston. Now, I know Lexi Hall has done inbounding, in last year and all that. Once again, I don't think anybody could have made that pass over to Natasha Howard, where they had 2 opportunities to win this game. So obviously, Caitlin was looking for Aaliyah. Aaliyah was being held and didn't get a whistle. So now Caitlin Clark has to see what she can see. And Caitlin, and only Caitlin, was able to deliver that pass all the way over to Natasha Howard. Natasha Howard put the ball up. It was blocked. Bree Jones was just amazing and a force to be reckoned with. And ball still ended up in Natasha Howard's hand. She put it up again. So I think we have to hold it down a little bit in terms of, well, Stephanie White didn't give the ball. This is just like last year. No, because Aaliyah Boston if she were able to get that, Caitlin inbound the ball puts her in a good position to get herself open to get a shot. So it wasn't like she was saying, don't give Caitlin the ball, just go stand in the corner. No, it's just that they grabbed Aaliyah up. She couldn't get free. So now Caitlin has to look at what else she has. As I said last night, the pass over to Lexi was probably not going to make it because somebody's going to be able to cut that off. But Caitlin was able to get up and over the top over to Natasha Howard, who had 2 opportunities. This isn't on Stephanie White. Now, Stephanie White did say, I only saw a little bit of her press conference last night, just a minute or 2, if that. And I heard enough for her to say some things that maybe she could have done better throughout the game. But for people to start to say she's trash, she's Christie side, she's this and that, then you're not seeing the whole picture. The whole picture is this team is supposed to be a team of people who can score. Aaliyah Boston on the block is smart. Caitlin Clark inbound the basketball, could have been able to get a pass back and then do something with it. And since that didn't happen, Caitlin Clark is the only one on this team, I believe, who could have delivered the pass over to Natasha Howard. And kudos to her to be able to see that, deliver that, and give her team the opportunity to win. And that is a combination of Stephanie White's coaching and Caitlin Clark's execution. The officials missed it. Now, I'm not blaming them for everything because this team, Kelsey Mitchell said it in the post game herself, we didn't do what we were being asked to do. We didn't do what we were coached to do until the end of the game. That's a problem. Missing free throws is the difference right in the game. So it's not just the officials, but it's a combination of things. So I just got to say, just from a coach's perspective and looking at the whole picture, it's bigger than, oh my goodness, she didn't want Caitlin to be in the play. Caitlin was in the play. She was key in the play. Those are my thoughts about it. It's a long season. Y'all better go look at my survival guide because I'm thinking some of y'all are not going to make it. 1 loss. A long season to go. Thursday night, this team has to face the Atlanta Dream again in Atlanta. I'll catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundant.